Hi everybody, thank you for joining me. You're at home with Melissa, and I'm glad you're here because today I have something to talk to you about that I think is not only interesting, but depending on where you live, it can also be really important. What it is Lyme disease. And it's actually one of those things where things that have just happened in my house have brought this opportunity to me to talk to you about it. And what it is that I currently have Lyme disease. This is my second time with it. The first time was a few years ago, and it was caught right away. This time, I had a deer tick on me, and it had to have been because I hadn't been outdoors for 4 or 5 days. Oh, cat behind me. It was 4 to 5 days that I'd had this deer tick. It was on my lower abdomen, and I was recovering from pneumonia, and all of a sudden I started to feel very, very poorly. And I guess I should have realized what was going on. I know the symptomology. I know that it's springtime in western Pennsylvania, and that, oh goodness, my bamboo's gonna take a header. But I know that it's springtime in western Pennsylvania, that we do have a problem with Lyme disease. But didn't think of it at first until I felt an itch on my tummy. And when I went to scratch it, I felt something there. And that was how I discovered the deer tick. And basically, I'll go through the whole thing. The reason I tell you that I have the Lyme disease is because not only have I experienced it myself twice, I have watched documentaries on it, I've done research on it myself, I've also spoken to various medical professionals about it. So I do have some personal knowledge and some academic knowledge of it, and I just want to share with you what I know in hopes that maybe it can help you out. And as always with my videos, if there's anything that you wonder about that I don't address, feel free to drop me a comment in the comment section below, and I will either research it, I'll talk to medical professionals, I'll do what I can to try to find the answer for you. But basically, what Lyme disease is it's a bacterial infection spread by a deer tick. The bacteria that's responsible for it, which I've written down the name of the bacteria and the name of the antibiotics used for it, just in case I would forget. And I do forget what the bacterial name is. It is Borrelia burgdorferi. The pronunciation's probably way off. But Borrelia burgdorferi is the bacteria. And the deer tick acts as a carrier. It doesn't become infected or get sick with it, but it has that bacteria in its system. When the deer tick feeds from you, they eat blood. When it feeds from you, as it's feeding, you are receiving the bacteria. It's being transferred from the tick's body into yours. And what you might experience, some of the initial symptoms that you might feel are extreme lethargy, lack of energy, very, very tired, exhausted, just wanting to sleep, an intense headache. And these headaches, if you're, say, a woman who gets headaches with certain hormonal fluctuations, it feels like that kind of headache. Or if you've experienced caffeine headaches, it's that kind of sharp, intense headache that really nothing touches. You might have body aches, very flu-like feeling, body aches in your joints and your muscles, the tiredness, the headache, moodiness as well can be one of the initial symptoms. So if you live in an area, if you spend time outdoors and you live in an area where Lyme disease is prevalent, you might very well want to get checked for it if you start experiencing these symptoms during a part of the year where you might be coming in contact with Lyme disease. And the reason I say that is because the sooner and the earlier that you receive treatment for Lyme disease, the better your results, the more likely the antibiotics are going to kill off the disease. If it's left go for a long time, you can experience neurological symptoms and everything else. It can be a completely debilitating disease. And the longer it's left go without being treated, the more resistant it is to treatment. So it's very important that as soon as you suspect Lyme disease or you've been bitten by a deer tick, contact your medical professional immediately, because you do want to get started with treatment. Now, there are 3 different antibiotics that are currently commonly used to treat Lyme disease. One that is probably the one most often used is doxycycline. And that is in fact what I'm taking for it. Amoxicillin is also used, as is, and here's the third one, I hadn't heard of it before, but it is cefuroxime acetyl. I don't think I'd heard of it before. So those are the 3 different antibiotics commonly used to treat Lyme disease. And it's, like I said, spread by the deer tick. Now, you can look up online pictures of deer ticks and things and how to identify them. And in the literature, it'll often say that they're brown, although they're not always brown. For example, the one that I just had on me, it looked like a skin tag, a very large skin tag. I felt an itch on my stomach, and generally you do not feel tick bites, but I was itchy, and I had already experienced symptoms for a couple, 2-3 days. It had been 4 or 5 days since I'd been outside, so this little guy had had quite a long time to feed and be passing me the bacteria. And I had this itch on my stomach. When I reached down to scratch my stomach, I felt something that felt like a skin tag, a large skin tag. So I looked, and it looked like a skin tag. You know, that how large skin tags get kind of a flesh tone-ish, but kind of a browny, purpley, gray color, maybe, because it's full of blood. Okay, that's what it looked like. It looked just like a large skin tag when I first looked at it. But I don't have any large skin tags on my stomach. And I thought, this, you know, as soon as I stopped and thought about it, and thought, wait a minute, that looks and feels to the touch as well, like a skin tag. And I thought, I don't have any skin tags there. And then it hit me, oh no. And I think probably a lot of us do, that ticks are just disgusting. And it hit me that that's probably what it was. And I thought, oh, please, no. So I got a mirror with 3-time magnification and looked at it closely. And again, and I was moving its body around, which probably you should not do. If you squeeze the body of the tick when it's feeding off of you, that can inject you with more bacteria. Likewise, if you fiddle with it, move it around, it can also have that effect. But I wasn't thinking, I just wanted to examine it better. And so I'm moving the body back and forth, and I'm looking at it because it looked like a skin tag. And so with the high magnification mirror and a bright light, I looked at the base of it. Now here's where I could really tell that it was not a skin tag. A skin tag often, you know, if you look at it the whole way down to the base, it's going to maintain that same color and then fade into a flesh tone. Well, at the base of this skin tag was dark, was a little bit of black right at the base. Well, that black was the tick's body, head, legs, nasty, yeah. And also right there at the base, it looked like there was blood at the base of this thing that I thought was a skin tag initially. Well, your skin tags don't look bloody at the base. And it wasn't bleeding, it just looked like there was blood at the surface at the bottom of this thing that looked like a skin tag. So at that point, it's like, oh no, I saw the black, I know that's its body, I saw this little bit of blood, that wouldn't be a skin tag. And again, I did something incorrectly, which is, because I wasn't thinking, I was just grossed out. And it had been a while since I'd thought about Lyme disease, so I did it incorrectly. I grabbed a piece of paper towel, put it around the body of this thing, and pulled it out. You don't want to do that. You don't want to squeeze its body. That'll inject more of the bacteria into you. What you want to do is you want to get a really sharp pair of tweezers, kind of like the tweezers found in a Swiss Army knife. That's a really good example. A very nice sharp point. Get as close to the surface of your skin as you can and pluck it off using those tweezers. You do not want to, say, burn the tick with a match, or put soap or dishwashing liquid on it when it's still attached to you. This can again cause it to inject more of the bacteria into you. You get your tweezers, you take it off, you get rid of the tick, kill it, get rid of it. And then you want to wash both your hands and the bite area very well with soap and water. Now, if that bite area, like I said, you don't generally feel tick bites. If the bite site is swollen, is red, is sore, tender, you probably have been infected with Lyme disease, because what happens, the ducks hear me talking to you, and I don't know if you can hear them, but they hear me talking, so they're excited. Oh, Mommy's talking to us, so they want me to go play with them. But, so just, if you can, just ignore the ducks. But, now I lost track of where I was. Doggone it. But, oh yeah, the bite site, if it's swollen, red, tender, as the bacteria enters your system, right there at the site where the bacteria is going in, it will cause the swelling and the tenderness and things like that. So if you have the swelling and the tenderness at the site of the bite, odds are you have been infected with Lyme. And the stereotypical target, the bullseye rash that people get, some people are under the misconception that you will always see this if you are infected with Lyme. That's not the case. You don't necessarily get that. Some people do, some don't. With the first time I was infected, I had a bullseye rash. The second time, I don't have it. Who knows if it'll develop before the antibiotics really take effect. It hasn't yet. I don't have the stereotypical bullseye rash. So, you know, just be careful and be vigilant. If you are in an area where Lyme disease is, you want to be vigilant. You want to be on top of things. If there's a chance you've been infected, get a hold of your medical provider right away. Now, this is, Lyme disease in our area has reached, I would say, pretty much epidemic proportions at this point. And in fact, our federal government tracks the numbers of Lyme disease cases reported to medical providers. The medical providers report to the government. So they are concerned with it, as should you be. Now, what can you do to prevent getting Lyme disease in the first place? Well, you could live your entire life indoors or in places where there's no high vegetation, but that's really not practical and probably not that healthy for you either. What the ticks do is they tend to hang out in high grasses or on taller plant life, and they'll hang out there and wait for an animal like you to walk by and brush against them, and they'll latch onto you and start feeding. So you can either avoid areas with tall grasses and things like that. That'll help lessen the odds of your becoming infected, of getting a tick bite. You can, another thing that's really helpful is wear long trousers, long sleeve shirts. You know, if you can stand it, it might be too hot to be able to tolerate it, but you know, if you can, wear long trousers, long sleeve shirts, and a hat in particular. If you have a hat that has, say, a piece of cloth that comes down the back to help protect you from the sunlight, to help you be protected from sunburn. Wear these in light colors. And the reason I say light colors is because the ticks look brown or black, and you know, before they fed, they're very tiny. If you have on dark clothing, you're not going to see those ticks on the clothing, but the light clothing, you'll be able, more likely anyway, to see them. Another good thing to do is, as soon as you come in from outdoors, take your clothes off, throw them in the washing machine and wash them, and do a tick check. If you live with a spouse or a partner, have them look you over. And don't miss the hairline. That's a very common place for people to get ticks, is right along their hairline. So check each other out. Look for the little thing that might just look like a speck of dirt, and you know, or it might be a little bit larger and look like a little bubble, or it might look like a skin tag. Check yourself or have someone else check you for ticks when you come in, and that can help as well. those are basically the best ways I know of to try to prevent them, which of course, I know I'm sitting here infected with Lyme disease telling you this, but I can tell you that I didn't follow my own advice. The last day I was outside, I was wearing sleeveless shirt, short trousers, dark colors, didn't check myself when I came in, and didn't immediately take my clothes off and wash them. So, you know, I just came in and went about my business. So, you know, if you follow this advice, it's not surefire that you won't be infected by it or that you won't get a tick on you, but it'll help to lessen the odds, and it'll also increase the odds that if you are infected, you'll catch it more quickly and can get treatment more quickly. Now, if you look online or whatever at photos and images of deer tick versus dog tick, you might say, okay, well, I found a tick on me, but it was a dog tick, not a deer tick, and therefore I'm fine. Not necessarily. The dog tick is known to carry a disease called, another bacterial infection, called Rocky Mountain Spotted Fever, and it can be fatal. And there are various strains of Lyme disease that can be carried by the deer tick. And ticks and other bugs that bite of all kinds, those aren't the only diseases to worry about. You know, there are a lot of diseases that these little critters carry. So just beware of what's out there. Be vigilant about your body and about what you're doing and what you can find. Stay on top of things and do the best you can and have fun. Don't be afraid to go outside. I mean, you know, you need that sunlight to help with metabolizing your calcium and vitamin D. You need sunlight. It's good for you. And you know, who wants to be indoors all the time? Just take these few tips and go with it and go and do what you do and enjoy yourself. And if you have the misfortune of being infected by Lyme disease, get it taken care of right away. Again, like I said, if you have any other questions, feel free to let me know. Drop a comment in the comment section, and I'll do my best to find the answers for you if I don't already know them. And as always, I thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you have a great day and that you just go out there and do and laugh and learn and just enjoy. And hopefully we'll be talking again really soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye.